All right, practice problem 1.8 is part of our assignment. The millimeters, grams, and seconds. Parts origin is indicated at the red location, so bottom center. The part is symmetric. Again, symmetric about the right plane. Fully defined lines, center lines, rectangles, and an extrude boss. All right, so I'm going to slow down a little bit on this one because I was having way too much fun on 1-7. And so let's go into our millimeters. And we're going to go to the front plane and sketch. All right, so we need, our geometry is going to be 50 at the front. So if we stay with the regions, I'm going to go with a midpoint and a dimension 200 by 50. And then we'll just pick up a center line. And the overall is 125. Okay, so going the center line from midpoint, vertical, give it the dimension. And then we're going to bring the lines down for the triangle. All right, so in this case, I need to establish symmetry. And they're giving us a right angle at the top, but let's see what happens if, so I need to make it perpendicular, but let's see what happens if I drag these back and forth. So they're not symmetric, so I need to add the symmetry. And I could have mirrored this and gotten the symmetry, but we also need to introduce a symmetric relation. So select, control select, control select. All right, it doesn't matter the order. I could have done the center line and the 2 points and then gone symmetric or symmetric. All right, so that gives me the desired result. We're going to go into the features, extrude boss base, and this geometry is midplane and also 200, 175. All right, so 175. And the selected contours, notice that the center line actually creates another contour region, so I just have to make sure to select all of those. And I could have trimmed again, but I think that it's probably been a while since I trimmed regularly. I just work around the geometry, and I'm not so concerned with trying to trim the geometry. So on the little tab on the sides, we can start at this outer face, or I could start on the right plane and go both directions. I think for our purposes, starting on the outer face is good. So we have some geometry, 50 typical, and 15 and 15. So that would tend to indicate that this is going to have some symmetry between those two across the front plane. So if I did something like that, and we start, and I know I sketched that fast after I said I was going to slow down, so let's start with the first line, and I'm going to focus on the midpoint. So if I right click and select the midpoint, I can pick the line and make it a midpoint, or I could pick the origin and make it vertical, because again, I'm looking at the long leg as vertical, horizontal is the short leg. So let's go with just making those midpoints. And we were not given, so I don't really have that number. I wanted to put that number in, but don't have it. So let's go from the point, and we'll pick the edge because it's a nice, easy target to work from. All right, going up and then going over, and I'm doing the click drag thing again. If you click click, you're going to have that line be continuous automatically. All right, so the height, let's see, where do we calculate the height from? 100 typical, so from the base, and then the width, 15. And let's go through the mirror one more time. So I'm going to put a center line just between the upper and lower. I could have made it infinite length, back to the origin would have been fine. And so for this, I'm going to go mirror, entities, pick those three, jump down to the mirror about. I see the preview, I'm okay with that. We accept it, we get our geometry. And then I got to click for my line, and we're going to pull that shape out. All right, so we used up to surface last time, so I'm going to extrude. For this one, I'm just going to tell it to go up to vertex. So vertex is where there's a corner, lines come together, edges come together. That will give us our finished shape. So let's go ahead and save it. P1-8 and save, and let's see how I did. Mask properties, we have 2,928, 250. All right, I got one. So let's put that back up there real quick. I do want to point out when I say the center of mass, all right, so 0.01 grams per cubic millimeters is 1 gram per cc, cubic centimeter. And so this is the density of water at whatever, 68 degrees at sea level. And so our surface area, our volume, and the center of mass, 0 to 0 by approximately 45. So if we look at this, our moments are along X and Y, and there is no real tilt to it, but that is the point at which this would bounce. If we try to tie a string to that point, it would tend to float. So that's the way I visualize it anyway. So geometry is not overly complicated, but the order that you decide to do these features in and the way that you pick your geometry is going to determine a lot of the how fast you can knock out these models.